We're going to use Excel to solve a system of linear equations. So I showed you what the two equations that I'm going to use are 3x plus 2y is 24 and 5x minus 2y is 8. And I'm just going to make some comments for myself of what x is, what's y, and what's my constant. So the x, y, c is just so we know what I'm talking about. So my first line says x, I have 3x, I have 2y, and that gave me 24. So we're just putting the coefficients just like we would do for our matrix. So same thing here, 5x, I put the coefficient 5, negative 2y, I need to put negative 2, and then I say 8. Right. So here's where like the magic happens. I want it to spit out an answer for me and tell me what would x and y be. So it's kind of a two-part process. The first part is to get the inverse of the matrix. All right, so to do that, I'm going to hit shift and highlight 4 squares because I want this to be the same size as what I'm putting in for my two equations. So after I did that, I hit equals, and I'm going to start typing in to make it do the inverse. So I start typing min and then v for inverse, and you can see it comes up with minverse. I don't know, kind of weird word, but we'll take it. And it says, okay, what array do you want? And I'm going to highlight by holding the shift down over it those 4 numbers. Do not push enter. I'm going to slow down a second because if I push enter, it'll give me 1 answer, and I want 4 answers. So to get 4 answers and to tell it it's going in those 4 spots, I hit Control Shift and enter, and it puts it in. All right, so there's step 1. Step 2 is I want to combine this inverse along with the answers that I have, right, for what constants is supposed to equal. So I know there's going to be 2 answers, so I shift and I select 2 spots, so this will be where my solutions are, and I put equals, and this time I want it to multiply, so I start typing for matrix multiplication, so I type and you see there's only one choice, so I'm going to click on it, and it says array comma array. So the first array is the inverse I just found. Make sure you hit a comma, and then I select my second matrix, which are the answers I want. Again, don't push enter because that'll only give you one thing. I want to have 2, so I hit Control Shift enter, and there are my answers. So I have 4 and 6. You could check it. If you do 3 times 4, that's 12. 2 times 6, that's 12. 12 and 12 is 24. Or you can do 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 6 is 12. 20 minus 12 is 8. So you can see we found the solutions of the equation. We didn't have to do any Gaussian elimination or reduce row echelon form. We just put it in the matrix and had it do it. So I thought we should do a 3 by 3 as well. I kind of went ahead and set this one up. So here are my equations. X plus 2y minus z is negative 4. Negative 2x plus 4y minus z is 6. 2x plus 2y plus 3z is 1. And that's just so you know what I'm putting in. And then I went ahead and said, well, okay, my x's, if you read down, I have 1, negative 2, 2. There's my first column. For my y's, I have 2, 4, 2, second column. Z is negative 1, negative 1, 3. You can see that. And then 4, 6, 1. There's are my constants. So just like I did on the last one, I'm going to start with the inverse. Remember, now I've switched to a bigger matrix. So I'm going to have a 3 by 3. So I'm going to go over 3 and down 3. So I have these 9 selected. And I push equals, and remember I'm typing in MINV, right? And I wait for it to come up that it's going to give me the inverse matrix, and it says what's your array? So I'm only selecting those coefficients for my variables. Remember I keep saying slow down, hit Control, Shift, and enter. There it pops in, there's my inverse. To get my answer, which is what are x, y, and z, I'm going to hit Shift, and again, highlight 3 places because I need a value for x, a value for y, a value for z. From there, I push equals, and this is where we're doing our matrix multiplication. So I type in MM, and you can see it comes up to matrix multiplication. It's going to ask for your 2 arrays. So I go to my first one, which is the one I just found, the inverse. After that, I hit comma. Then I go back to the C's. I highlight them, stop, hit Control, Shift, and enter. There are my values. So that says x is negative 3, y is a half, and z is 2.